Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for
Hey everyone.
tuning in. I have Dean back. So today's segment, it's still about IT because IT is a really hot job market in this pandemic. So I brought Dean back on, and as I don't know how many of you guys know, we've collaborated back in 2020, and we put a program together that is just targeting IT professionals, and kind of did a name change, and now we are now calling it Bootcamp Get Hired in 30 Days. And this is one that I created with Dean for IT professionals. So it is targeting just IT professionals because it's with Dean. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, again, the theme is the same thing of how to get hired in 30 days. So Dean's going to, first of all, let's talk about the IT market, and then we will take your questions. So drop your questions down in the comment section. And if anybody wants to openly speak to us and want to hop on this live, we will share that link shortly as well. And we are only aiming to do this for 1 hour. So I know we always go over when Dean's involved. I've probably gone over by myself too. But yeah, when I have a guest speaker like Dean, and we tend to go a little bit over our time allocated. So only 1 hour, that's our cap, guys. So let's start this. Dean, let's talk about the IT market.
Yeah, folks. I mean, IT market. It's IT has always been a hot market anyway. It's a hot industry, and there's always opportunities, right? Now, at the onset of the pandemic, of course, again, this created more opportunities for IT because many organizations were making the transition into allowing their employees to work remotely, and many organizations did not have the infrastructure in place. So because of that, even in the onset of the pandemic, new opportunities for various parts of IT, right? There was a lot of digital transformation projects going on, a lot of cloud transformation, virtualization, and a whole variety of different areas within IT, right? And it has since then, as all of these organizations, as all of us are adapting to the new environment that we're in, this has created new problems for businesses, for organizations, for consumers. And those problems lead to opportunities, right? And this is where businesses come in and offer their products, their services, their solutions to help address these problem areas. And a quick example of that is, as I mentioned, when at the onset of the pandemic, so many organizations were going into everyone working remotely. But then the next problem this created was, how do we secure the infrastructure, right? Because now many people are working out of their home internet services, which is not sophisticated security technology in place or anything like that. So this is where
the Signal, like I think it's called the Signal. I should know this. I had an IT degree. What is that called? The signal, the strength of your Wi-Fi signal has increased because of this pandemic, because everybody's working from home. And I
exactly.
I'm totally like brain freeze today. I had to buy these. I bought this mesh kit to totally mesh my house so the Wi-Fi signal can be strengthened and you can receive it. But man, it still doesn't really. It did make a difference, but I think there's a whole opportunity here in the IT market, even telecommunication.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So that's another great example right there. The telecom industry as well, right? Huge opportunities within that space, because so many of us are using all these various telecommunication devices, products, solutions, and all that stuff. So what all of you folks need to be looking at with respect to IT, because those of you tuning in are probably IT professionals, you need to look at what problems have been created as a result of the pandemic and what opportunities have these problems created for the tech industry. And that is where the opportunities are going to be.
Okay. Now, we both know IT market's really hot because of the pandemic, and you covered some great insights. Now, I'm putting you on the spot. How can people land a job in 30 days?
Yeah, so
the IT market. Also, guys, if you're tuning in, I see a few of you guys have tuned in, and I know we kind of like doing this last minute, so there's no notification sent out by me to my followers on LinkedIn that we're going live. So introduce yourself, in the comment, use this opportunity to network with other people, to talk to us. So don't fail to introduce yourself, where you're tuning in from, and also feel free to ask us any question. Guys, you're going to get coached by both of us on how to land a job in the IT sector, or in general. It doesn't have to be IT. You can land a job in 30 days in any sector.
Absolutely.
So how can someone land a job in 30 days in IT?
Yeah. So number one, folks, what is your strategy? Do you have a strategy in place? And even before the strategy, what is your target, right? I always talk about this, whenever I'm talking about this whole thing. You need to first and foremost figure out what your target is. If you don't know what your target is, this is how you're going to end up confused. You're not going to know which direction to take. You're not going to know who to speak to, who not to waste time speaking with, which opportunities to pursue, which ones not to pursue. So number one, what is your target? Have you figured out your target? And if you're taking notes, you want to write that down. What is my target? Now, also related to that, and I speak about this all the time as well, what I've seen many IT professionals do is spread themselves too thin. You're making yourself available for QA opportunities. You've also got software development experience, so you're looking for software development opportunities. You got a little bit of BA sprinkled in there, so you're looking for the business analyst opportunities. And before you know it, folks, you're just scattered, right? And you're scattered in your approach, and you come across as someone scattered to recruiters, to hiring managers, especially when they're taking a look at your LinkedIn profile, because now you've created your LinkedIn profile to be able to cover all these various grounds. So focus in on one position, one target position that you're looking for. And next thing is strategy. You need to have a strategy, and not just any strategy, because simply having a strategy does not make the strategy effective. Mm-hmm. Is it an effective strategy? And if you've been going through with your current way of doing things for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and it's not getting you results, that means there might be an issue with your strategy. So you got to look at the strategy, right? That's the other part of the process. And other thing is, you should not be depending solely on applying to jobs online, right? If you're solely depending on applying to jobs online, that's why so many of you are experiencing these issues in your job search. Now, I recently did a survey actually on LinkedIn, where I think close to 330 people or something voted.
Oh, wow.
And 77% said the biggest problem they're facing is not getting responses to their job applications when they're applying online. This is a big mistake. So this is obviously, something that so many job seekers are experiencing right now. Which means me to the other part. How do you land yourself a job? Well, what have you done?
You know what, Pino? Our friend Pino.
Yeah, Pino. Yeah.
I forget his last name. He posted, I think it was yesterday or day before that. He posted on his LinkedIn that 85% of jobs were filled by networking.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
85%.
That's a significant change.
By networking. I don't know. I actually wanted to write a comment on his post. Hey, can you kind of share where you got the number from?
Yeah, the source. Yeah.
But it makes sense, right? We talk about this. I talk about this all the time, that 80% of your all available jobs are in the hidden job market.
Yeah.
And 20%. So he's saying 85% people were hired through networking. That's a big number.
Yeah, it's not like a small chunk or something. Yeah. Yeah,
people need to start keeping stats and kind of go where your odds are greater. 85% jobs were filled by networking, and that leaves what? The number math's horrible. 15%?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's not that bad now. 50% of online, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I've been saying 80-20. And I think a lot of people don't understand even today that even people who reach out to me, it's always the same scenario. It's always the same thing. I always ask people, whoever reaches out to me, what's your search? What's your job search strategy? One, people don't even know what I mean by that.
Yeah, exactly.
What? Yeah. What are you talking about? No, just applying to jobs online. No, man, that's not a strategy, right? Inside voice is what do you do? How do you not know what strategy is? So a lot of people don't know what strategy is, and then I have to say, okay, what's your approach to your job search? And it's always the same. I'm pretty sure you go through this too. It's always the same where, hey, I'm applying to jobs online and I'm not getting any response. I'm networking. And then I ask, okay, how you networking? Sending out LinkedIn connection requests, asking for and sharing my resume, asking for informational interviews, asking if they can refer me to jobs and so on and so on. And then it's like, yeah, well, that's not like your approach is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So a lot of people don't understand strategy really means having a game plan.
Yeah.
And then you need to have a strategy on how to execute it. Then you need to have a game plan on, well, if I run into hiccups, what I need to do, right? You need to keep analyzing and pivoting on your job search. Hey, I was listening to your LinkedIn Live today when I was driving.
Oh, okay.
I went to go to Starbucks to get coffee, and you happened to be online. I was like, okay, let me just listen to it while I drive.
Yeah.
You said something interesting, but because I was driving, I couldn't write a comment. You were saying something interesting about your resume and your LinkedIn profile, the dates and the months and all that stuff, right? Now I have a question for you, because that question is I've been asked this question a lot too, but I wanted to get your perspective being a recruiter. When you're applying to jobs online, you have to tailor your resume, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because of the ATS and all that stuff. Now, how can people, you can't tailor your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You'll be going oh my God, cuckoo, because you'll be doing it for, how would you even keep track, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You were saying something interesting. I don't remember the exact wording, but how can someone, how can someone have, you were saying that, if your LinkedIn profile and your resume is off, then a recruiter may not contact you. I think it was Pino also kind of said, yes, it was Pino when I had him on my live, I think a couple months ago. He said the same thing, but I'm like, it's a little bit hard to have your resume and your LinkedIn be synced together, because you're always going to be tailoring your resume, but you can't always tailor your LinkedIn profile. But you'll be going, your LinkedIn profile will be changing every time you're applying to a job. And some people are applying 10, 15 jobs. You can't, so what's your advice on that? What do you mean? First, let's talk about why the InSync. I believe InSync should be there.
Yeah.
So can you just talk about that point that you were talking about on your LinkedIn Live today?
Yeah, sure. So the main thing there is
going off.
Yeah. So the main thing there is pretty much like the job, the company name, the position title, and then the time frame you work there. And if I could pick the one thing that's most important is the dates, because if the dates that you work there are different on the resume versus on the LinkedIn profile, that's a bit of a red flag, right, for the recruiter or whoever's reviewing it. Now, job titles, that there might be a little bit of gray area there, right? Because sometimes you maybe your role has multiple functions and you want to highlight a specific function on your resume versus on your LinkedIn profile. So this is where you might have to, somehow on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile, you might have to, I don't know, put it in brackets, like whatever other titles you had on the role or something of that sort, so that it does not appear that you're saying one thing on your resume or one thing on your LinkedIn profile. So this mostly relates to the company name, the job title you had, and also the dates. The actual what you did, it's not as important, because it's understandable that you might highlight different things on your resume. But
now, job titles.
Yeah.
Since you're bringing this up, I have a question for you. Now, same thing with job titles, right? Because a lot of times you kind of have to tweak your job title when you're applying to jobs online because of the ATS. Now, how would you, as you said, it's a gray area. You can't, it's a little bit tricky when you're trying to have ATS involved, right? So I always, my advice is, hey, you tweak it. And then I did this, but I talked to my manager and they were fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it gets a little bit gray area. And I think I asked you this, when I think we did a roundtable with you, recruiters and a couple of career coaches. I think it was then when I asked. Yeah. I don't remember, but I remember having this discussion with somebody, and I'm like, but it's kind of it's a little bit that's kind of tricky to do for job seekers. And then I think people who are recruiting kind of have to have an open mind that you're also using ATS. So someone to have job titles a little bit different just to beat the ATS. I think it's not a lie. Like, you're kind of making
Oh
a
no, for sure. Yeah, I totally agree.
And then on LinkedIn, you may not be able to, because it's a public profile, you may not be able to use that job title, and you have to use the one company gave you. Because the best advice I ever got from a recruiter in early days, like in my HR career journey, early days, she told me, like, I was an HR assistant title wise, but what I was actually doing, my role and my responsibilities, it wasn't. I was considered like HR generalist. So I was working with this recruiter to fill some positions, and we were hiring. And then I let her know that my contract's coming to an end. So I just started putting my out there, right? Feelers, like, hey, I'm gonna be looking. And since I'm already working with her, so she said, hey, I'm gonna give you one good advice is on your resume, don't put HR assistant, because that was my title. I'm like, why? She goes, because you're gonna get overlooked, because what you're actually doing right now in this role is considered generalist. So like, I pretty much in less than a year became a journalist. Like, that's kind of like unheard of in your like first year of HR. Like, you can't get to journalist, right? Like, you have to be assistant, admin, like a little bit whatever. But she said, like, don't put HR assistant, because then you're gonna get that level, but you're not at that level given the fact, the role and responsibility, you're doing all the things you've been doing. And so I took her advice and I did that. But my manager, I told him, and he was fine with it. But in my reference letter, he wrote an assistant, but he's used to that because I was his right. But the best advice I ever got, and thank God back then LinkedIn wasn't so popular anyways. I was even on LinkedIn. Long story short, it worked because I got HR generalist as my next opportunity.
Yeah.
So in 1 year, in first year of my career, I developed myself as an HR journalist, and then my second job right after that 1 year contract was a journalist role.
Yeah.
So how would you now, like, what would you do in that scenario?
Yeah. So this is a great point, right? So in that situation, there's not too much of a discrepancy. Like, what I'm talking about here is like, so in your case, you maybe on your resume you put on HR generalist, and maybe LinkedIn profile had HR assistant or HR coordinator.
I did journalist.
Oh, it was general. Okay, so in that scenario, it is the same, right? Like you mentioned the same title in both places. But no, I mean, recruiters are very reasonable. Like if you put HR assistant on your resume and maybe HR coordinator on your LinkedIn profile, it's not too far off from each other. The problem is when you put HR assistant on your resume and like QA analyst on your LinkedIn profile, that's when it's, too much of a discrepancy.
Yeah,
there.
I wouldn't.
Right?
Imagine that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or I wouldn't do QA analyst. Like I'm okay. So I was playing around with my title. I've been in these situations twice, and then there was one time was I was covering a mat leave.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the company did it this way, but the role was called HR specialist, whereas all the other in the US, the way the structure was, it was a manager. But I don't know why for the Canadian location they called it specialist. But I'm covering a mat leave. I can't like change my title. I'm covering a mat leave. But I was always introduced as a manager. I was invited to management meetings. Even in the States, we had like 3 or 4 meetings with HR managers and the directors of ops. There was a combined one, and then I had 2 HR ones in the States because that's where our head office was.
Is that the manufacturing company?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah. So when I left our organization, I put manager because I was. My boss didn't care. Again, like a couple of situations, my boss really didn't care. But and the individual that I was using as well, my director of op also in his reference letter to me also wrote manager, right? So like you're being introduced as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why the title, but again, I don't have a say because it's covering a mat leave. Now in that situation, what would you do? Like say title specialist and you're saying you're manager, but the title really wasn't, but the role was. Like that, I did it because, again, that's the best advice I've ever gotten from a recruiter.
Yeah.
Was you got to match your role with the title, and a lot of companies don't do that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's horrible practice. So what would you do? What would you consider that a lie? Like, what would you do?
No, not at all. No. So again, right? Because there's not too much of a discrepancy there, right? So it's not like, so the recruiter, when they're reading over your LinkedIn profile and it's a different title, but it's essentially the same kind of a role when they're reading through the description. I mean, that understanding is going to be there for the most part. Now, are there going to be recruiters out there who might come to conclusions? Unfortunately, yes. Right? Unfortunately, yes, there might be some recruiters out there. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I think most recruiters are going to be very understanding about that. They're going to know that, okay, yeah, this is just, it's pretty much the same role. Maybe she has an official title that's different, and you know, she's trying to make her profile more SEO friendly or something like that. But again, the issue is if you're talking about stuff on your resume that's totally like, you know, totally different on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay, so
that's when it becomes an issue.
Okay, got it.
And unfortunately, I've seen that, right? Like I've recruiting in IT, for example, I've seen people who, you know, on the resume it says they were a business analyst, and on the LinkedIn profile it's like QA analyst, which is like totally different. I mean, there are some overlap here and there, but it's two different positions. It's way too different.
Yeah. Okay, so you were talking about that. Maybe did you cover that? Maybe I missed that part.
Yeah. I covered that.
Okay, so yeah, that I agree, where like you're totally manipulating the titles.
Yeah.
But I have given advice on that. If like I have somebody that was QA / also doing project coordinator.
Oh yeah.
So I told them to remove QA. Actually, no, not remove QA, but put project coordinator, then dash QA, but like flip the title. Don't put QA / project coordinator. And it worked because he ended up, because that's what he wanted, and he got a project coordinator. But on his LinkedIn, he did the same thing. Or did he just put project coordinator?
Yeah,
so
that's
it wasn't really like him lying, but it's not like he wasn't doing the role. So sometimes you can be a QA / a BA.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
See that too. So going back to getting hired in 30 days, holy went.
total 180
around here. But I thought it was important, since we're talking
it was,
because I remember your LinkedIn. I was like, it's a little bit tricky to have your LinkedIn match 100% to your resume, because we're like, you know, just tailoring your resume. So now getting back to getting hired in 30 days. So we covered LinkedIn profile really intensively.
Yeah.
And you talked about job search strategy, and we kind of touched on hidden job market. What else would you say?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the hidden job market, folks, and you know, we covered this in Gurpreet's program, right, that I'm collaborating on with Gurpreet. You had to spend the time in developing your professional, your personal brand on LinkedIn. This is something that I think that is so underutilized on LinkedIn. And like I read it in an article somewhere as well, where they said that LinkedIn has a discrepancy in number of users versus actual, you know, content and people actually posting things of value. So this is a huge opportunity for people who are able to and actually take the steps in building their professional brand. Because if you go through your feed, you'll see that it's usually the same people that you see in your network posting every day, because so few people, I think, make good use of the platform. So this is how you can establish yourself as someone who's an expert in your space, as someone knowledgeable in the types of projects that you're involved in. And this is what attracts you those inbound incoming opportunities, right? And you know, even during the pandemic, so last year, you know, I was a part of layoffs at the employer that I was working at, but because I had such a strong brand, and even to this day, even though right now I'm kind of building my own business, but even to this day, every week I get messages from staffing agencies. They want to know if I'm looking for new job opportunities, whether or not I'm looking to consider something in the staffing agency, sometimes even like corporate recruitment positions. So that is a very strong position to put yourself in, folks, where you have people reaching out to you and offering you opportunities. Now, I'm not saying they're offering me jobs, of course, but at least I'm getting the opportunity to have conversations and have interviews. And if you have a strong brand, that's the kind of value you're able to attract. And this is how you kind of really make use of the platform.
Any other tips?
I mean, look, there's so much tips, right? I mean, there's so much stuff we can cover in regards to your job search. But of course, interview skills, folks. Interview skills are extremely, extremely important. And Gurpreet and myself, like we've talked about this in the past. Like I've interviewed so many people. Gurpreet's interviewed so many people, and I can honestly say
more people than I have being a recruiter.
Yeah, that's right. And look, folks, I mean, and I'm sure Gurpreet, you'll probably say the same thing. I don't need more than two hands to count how many times I've interviewed someone that totally impressed the heck out of me, like who did the interview perfectly. Because most people don't know how to interview effectively and in the right way. So if you're able to interview the right way and really handle your interviews correctly, really stand out, really position yourself the right way, that's going to give you a huge advantage in the current environment where it is a employer-driven market, right? Where there's more available talent than there are opportunities, where there's more competition. So when there's more competition, you need to make sure you're really sharp in your interviews. You're really prepared to position yourself in the right way. So interview skills are extremely important right now as well.
Great. So I just want to touch on a few things you said. One thing people underestimate is the power of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I think both of us have done a great job on proving there's so much power on LinkedIn. And many people have LinkedIn profiles, but then that doesn't mean anything, right? Your LinkedIn profile has to be SEO friendly, search engine optimized, to LinkedIn, not Google. Could be Google too, but to LinkedIn, because HR recruiters use the backend search engine. Really not backend, but use the search tool to look for candidates on LinkedIn. Dean's done it. I do it. And also, you have to build your brand. Like you have to create that awareness that you exist. And I think a lot of people underestimate the value of building your personal brand, because brand building is always known for products, services, businesses. But it's also so important as individuals that we build our brand. We create that awareness about us, because that's how you grow in your career, but it's also how to make more money in your career.
Yeah.
Get those high-level jobs faster and fast-track your career is to build your personal brand. Actually, I'm actually putting a program on this.
Nice.
On brand building for career professionals, so that you can help you grow your career like speed rocket.
Exactly.
And get those opportunities to come your way. And I am a firm believer in that nobody needs to chase anything. You don't have to chase job opportunities. Job opportunities can come to you like this. Get super active on LinkedIn. And I think a lot of people underestimate the power of also getting active on LinkedIn, writing those comments on people's posts, writing your own content every single day. You got to be consistent. Some people think that, hey, they're going to overnight get success in creating a brand or creating an awareness. It does take time, but you can speed up. I challenge anybody to do this for 7 days. Write 3 posts a day. 2 to 3 posts a day for 7 days, and commit to writing 20 to 30 comments on people's posts for 7 days. And I guarantee you will have someone message you in your DMs for a job opportunity. I challenge anyone to do this. Like Spot, I'm challenging people to do this. And if you commit to doing it, like you have to commit to doing it for 7 days. And you have to post 3 posts a day, space them out, and comment 20 to 30 posts. It can be the same post, it doesn't matter, but commit to doing it. And there's a strategic approach behind this as well. So anybody out there that wants to accept my challenge, it's 7-day LinkedIn posting and commenting challenge. You have to create 3 posts a day and 20 to 30 comments. And I guarantee you will have at least 1 or 2 job opportunity come knocking on your door.
Love that. I think that's great advice.
Who's going to accept it? I want to know.
Let us know in the comments. Yeah.
DM, let us know in the comments, or personally DM me and say, hey, I accept your challenge. And then tag me in your post that I accept Gurpreet's challenge, and tag me in your post, because I want to see it. I guarantee you results in 7 days, guys, if you do this correctly.
You got to do it. And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because when I first started posting on LinkedIn back in 2016, I used to post like 5 times a day, every day. Like that's how I started posting it. And just like you said, but nothing fancy, like very, 1 or 2 line pieces of advice. That's how I started, folks. Like you gotta put in the work.
That's why I like LinkedIn, because you don't have to be fancy. You don't have to spend time creating a post like Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn's so simple and easy. All you need is, everybody has it. It's a phone. Use it. I want to talk about this, for example, for this. So many people also underestimate the power of this little gadget. Like, I live on this in a sense, meaning I live off of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I have my app on here for LinkedIn, and I don't understand how, like, people say they don't have time. I'm like, you got to make the time. I live off my phone. My mom always yells at me all the time. Then she's like, "Wow, this is why you have neck pain." And probably granted, this is why I always have neck pain and my shoulders are always sore. And then I have this massager that I need to like get release the tension. But the thing is, you have a phone and you can write your LinkedIn content from anywhere as long as you download the app. So I've been using my phone for LinkedIn posts. I actually prefer it better than going on my desktop because the emojis and all that stuff. But I remember writing my first post that hit almost 400,000 views.
Wow.
That was 2019. My first post that ever got such like high. I was like, whoa, what's going on, right? 400,000 views. What did I do? I wrote that post in the back seat. I don't know who was driving. We were having a conversation about new immigrants and stuff like that. And then just like, oh my God, I'm going to talk about this. And all it was I was talking.
Oh, I remember that post. That was an amazing post. Yeah, I remember that.
And all that post was, honestly speaking, was exact conversation I had with one of the hiring managers about, well, you're seeing this, but you should be seeing X, Y, and Z about
I remember that.
No Canadian experience. That post, I'm not kidding you. I was sitting in the back seat. Someone was driving. I don't know where we were going. And I was like, yo, post idea. I'm writing this post. Friday, 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I wrote that post. So I also want to talk about, it doesn't matter when you post. It's all about the content. That post, I'm not kidding you, 400 views. I will prove this. I'll take a picture, but I need to go find it first. Picture. 400,000 views.
So let me ask you this. So that post got 400,000 views, right? Now, what did this?
Another one that got close to 700,000 views.
Oh wow!
I can't find that post. I don't even remember what the topic was.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. So these posts that got you 400,000 and 700,000 views, what did that do for expanding your network? And what did that do for your business? And in terms of the new connections you made, how much value was that for you?
Okay, so it was because I'm very active. I think around that time I was being very super active. Mentally, I lost my dad in 2018, end of fall 2018. So 2019, I didn't do any cold calling or email calling, nothing. I wasn't reaching out to any companies for consulting, like to get sales, because mentally I wasn't there. I'm just being honest. Mentally, capacity, like losing your father, grieving. There's no way. I wasn't there mentally. But what I did was I started getting super active on LinkedIn. I've been active on LinkedIn since 2015, but I just upped my game on 2019. So what that did, to answer your question, is I started getting people coming to me, reaching out to me, talking to me. And then I started putting these workshops together for my side coaching stuff.
Yeah.
I started selling my workshops. That UC No Canadian Experience barrier. No Canadian Experience led me to actually, at that time I was even doing workshop, led me to see there's such a big problem in this, led me to create my first workshop that I sold was targeting newcomers. Because at all the comments, I started seeing how many newcomers are struggling in this, led me to create the No Canadian Experience barrier, how to overcome the No Canadian Experience barrier workshop, which people bought. Yeah. So what started happening was, as I started doing the workshops and my HR consulting, I started attracting people to come to me. Then I had like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't have to reach out. You know how many hours I used to spend reaching out to companies, CEOs and executives? And then before we went on live, I was talking about how, like doing trade shows. You know how much money I've spent on like all this stuff. But I was like, oh my God, this is free marketing. This is perfect. No ads. All you have to do is write content. I'm not saying all my content does great. It just varies, right? Yeah. So what started happening was people started reaching out to me. The challenge that I just told people to do is 3 times a day, write 3 posts 3 times in a day in 20-30 comments. So I didn't do the 20-30 comments. I just did 3 posts a day. Within that 1 week that I did it, I had 3 opportunities come my way: a radio show, a board member opportunity, and third one was, I think, a potential client.
Wow.
3, just in 1 week, by being super, super active. And even now, I get invited to speak. I get invited to collaborate on different things. I get invited to be, hey, come to my podcast. Actually, also Forbes reached out to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's 2016. I still have that email to prove it to anybody that thinks I'm bullshitting. And you know what? First, I thought that was a joke when Forbes emailed me. I was like, this is...
Because that's invite only. That's invite only, right?
Invite only.
Forbes Council, right?
Yeah, and they actually reached out to me, and I was like, this is a joke. I thought it was a spam email, right? But anyways, I replied back. I took the call. It was legitly Forbes. Wow. And then I asked her, I go, how did you come to know me? She said LinkedIn.
There you go.
LinkedIn. So I have this email. I will prove it. I should post it, that Forbes reached out to me in 2016. And this is when I was starting to just early years of my entrepreneur journey. And they reached out to me. Obviously, I didn't make the list because I wasn't making millions of dollars. Yeah. But they told me, hey, when you hit that mark, reach out to us because you're on our radar. So when I hit the $1 million, so I'm not making millions, but hopefully one day I will. And I will call them up and be like, hey, right? Actually, my goal is to be on Forbes magazine. I've written it on my board. It's written down on my
That's awesome.
board. But the power of brand building, people underestimate, but it's huge. It's free. Mm-hmm. LinkedIn's free, guys. Writing posts is free. And the beauty behind it is you don't have to chase anybody. You don't have to go chasing people. You don't have to worry about what you should talk to someone when you reach out to them, because they're coming to you and the conversations are being brought to you, and you just have to reply back to those messages. And that's what we call nurturing in the job search funnel: awareness, engage, and nurture. You got to engage and nurture back into these relationships. But that's the true power of writing content. Oh, Fola said accept your challenge.
Oh, Fola accept your challenge.
Fola, I want you to tag me in your post, okay? And I want your first post should be, I accept Gurpreet's challenge for writing content, 7 days, 3 posts a day. I want to see 3 posts a day, okay? So she accepted the challenge. Great. So let's start. We're going to open up and take questions now. So if you have a question, please drop it. Fola has a question. My question is, how long does it take for the recruiter to get back after the final interview?
All right. So Fola, so couple of things here to keep in mind, right? How soon the recruiter gets back depends on, I guess, a couple of factors, right? Number one is how many stakeholders are involved? Like if it's does it have a couple of people involved? Is there a manager, a director, a VP, maybe a C-level executive? Or is it just come down to just one person making a decision? So it depends how many stakeholders are involved in making the final decision. Number two is whether or not there is a sense of urgency regarding the role. Is it something very urgent? Is it something that they're willing to, take some time to make a decision on? So it depends on that as well. And then, of course, finally, depends on whether or not, how you performed at the interview, whether they feel that there is a good mutual fit there. So I'd say those, there's many aspects as to whether or not they're going to get back or how soon they're going to get back. But those are probably the 3 main components, Fola.
Okay. Also, guys, I've dropped the link. If you want to hop on the live with us and you want to get free coaching, we have about 20 minutes to do this. So if you want to speak to me and Dean live right now, you can hop on. Click on the link. You can hop on. We're happy to answer any questions. We can coach you live right now. But keep in mind, we only got 20 minutes before we end this segment. So I've dropped the link. You want to talk to us, feel free to hop on to this call. Now, interviews. Any tip and advice on how people can nail the interviews? Because so people struggle in interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And we go over this so much, right? During our boot camp as well, Gurpreet, right? the major mistake so many people make is focus, like positioning themselves as a job seeker, right? That's the biggest mistake everyone makes, because the fact is, folks, it's not about you and your need for a job, right? It's about the organization's need for bringing in someone to help them solve a problem or help them solve a set of problems. So you need to be positioning yourself as someone who's able to solve problems, as a problem solver, as a solution provider, right? You'll hear me, myself, and Gurpreet talk about this all the time, and we posted about this as well. So step away from positioning yourself as a job seeker or someone that's in need of a job, right? A lot of you are using that open to work thing on your LinkedIn profile. You're using the headline to talk about looking for new opportunities, but that doesn't really communicate any value to the organization, right? The organization is looking for someone to come in and solve a problem. So at your interviews, you need to make sure that that's how you're positioning yourself, right? When you're talking about yourself, your background, your experience, what you bring to the table, you got to focus on those skills and what you bring to the table that allows you to help solve problems.
Also, guys, you have to have a strategy on closing. You gotta, every interview round you go on, you have to first prep for interviews and also have a strategy on how to close. Lastly, I want to say my only other advice on interviews is use this. Videotape yourself. I'm holding it upside down. Videotape yourself. Today I'm totally brain dead. Use this to videotape. Again, you have a gadget in your hands, right? Like, we live off these things. Why not use it to our full advantage? There's a video. You can record your answers. Google, typical interview questions that possibly can be asked in the position you're going for an interview. It's not that hard to Google those questions. And then interview your answers, and then be your own critic and ask yourself, how can you improve your answer? And a lot of times what ends up happening is people not actually, and both Dean and I have seen this, we've asked a question in the interview and the candidate didn't answer.
Yeah.
So listening skills is so important. And we cover this in our bootcamp. I keep reminding my clients in my bootcamp over and over and over in every class, hey, listening skills, it's going to pay off in the interview. So many people go into the interview, but then, for various reasons, maybe you're nervous, maybe you're shy, maybe you just, I don't know, like, many things can happen. But if you're not listening, processing the question, and then putting an answer together and then deliver. So that's my 3 steps: is listen, process, formulate the answer in your head, and then deliver. And that way you ensure you can answer it. And now sometimes companies may ask a little bit longer question. Notepad, pen, notepad, book, take it with you and just write the little bit of the key point that they're asking for. So when you are answering your question, you are going to answer to hitting everything that they're asking for. Again, use it, videotape your answers and see how you are delivering your answers. The key is the delivery, guys. It is the delivery and how you answer those questions, and your personality needs to show.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think IT people.
Don't say it.
But it's the truth, though. A lot of IT people get so lost in interviews because they're so techie that they forget to show their personality.
You gotta let your personality shine through, folks.
You gotta let your emotions, those feelings, like how we're just talking, like let's look at our pitches, high, low, we're laughing, and so on. But you gotta show your personality, and it's just not. I've seen a lot with techie people, accounting too. But in generally speaking, a lot of people forget to show their personality in the interview. Is it okay to send a thank you message to the recruiter after the interview? Yes, but it depends on the message. Dean?
Yeah, I agree with that, right? So Fola, is it okay? Yeah, absolutely, it's okay. Now, the content of the message will determine whether or not it's something that'll make a difference or not, right? Because if it's simply a thank you, hey, thank you for your time, appreciate it. I mean, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, that's good, but it's not gonna do anything for you. Like it's kind of, it doesn't accomplish anything, right? So it depends on what your content is in the message.
I agree, because a lot of times all this is a formality, guys.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that just because you're sending a thank you note doesn't mean that it's going to help you in any way. Okay, so hence you have to have a closing strategy in the interview. You got to also ask the right questions in the interview. When you're doing a thank you letter, think outside of the box here. We have so many gadgets that we can use. There's Loom to do a video. You can do a video thank you letter. And again, it shouldn't be more than 2 minutes because no one's going to sit there and listen to you ramble on for it's the truth, right? Stand out of the crowd. Think of ways to stand out of the crowd. But the message, it's all about the message. If you're just going to say, hey, thank you for your time. It was nice to meet you. Thank you for going over the job description. That's just generic. That's not you building the connection with them. You have to make an impact during the interview. You got to see, my best advice on interviews is see it as an opportunity. You have someone's attention for 30 to 1 hour. Depending on how long the interview is, right? 30 minutes max to an hour. You have someone's attention for that long. You should be using that hour or 30 minutes to make that person your friend. It's actually, if you start approaching interviews like networking, where you're meeting someone for the first time, they have questions and you have questions to get to know them. Interviews is getting to know the other person. Both parties are trying to get to know each other. You want to become friends with the person that's interviewing you. The goal should be to build that relationship, because that relationship, even if that interview doesn't work out for that role, but if you build that relationship with the interviewer, trust me, that person will refer you to other positions in the network or in the company. I've done this for how many people that have actually taken the time to build a relationship with me that I would refer to if the role wasn't a good fit for them, but I know somebody that can use their set skills and is hiring, I've referred them to my network for free. It's networking, guys. It's networking. Use it as an opportunity to build that relationship with the person. It will actually take you far. So think beyond the job. Of course, everybody wants a job, but also think of a way that you're also, you have someone's attention for 1 hour. You're with that person for at least 1 hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, again, drop it in the comment section. If you want to hop on this live, I've dropped the link. I'll drop it one more time. If anybody wants to get coached by us live right now, hop on the live with us. I've dropped it. I just dropped the link again. Come on in. This is open call to anybody that wants to get coached by us. Now, getting hired in 30 days, is it possible, Dean?
Absolutely, it is possible. But at the same time, keep in mind, folks, it depends on your strategy. It depends on your level of commitment, and it depends on how bad you want it. Like, are you willing to run through a wall, like to get what you want to get in terms of your job search? If your situation is not such that you want it so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes, if that is your situation, then absolutely, it is possible for you to land a job within 30 days. Now, obviously, some of you might have a different learning curve, and it might take you some time to kind of really utilize some of the things we talk about, because it is a very aggressive program, very fast. Very fast moving, and you have to do the work. You have to do the homework. You have to do what's being assigned, and you have to really keep up with what Gurpreet and myself are teaching in the boot camp. But if you can do that, if you stick to it, if you're committed, right, and you want it as much as you want to breathe, right? If you're willing to do that, and that's your level of commitment, then absolutely it is possible to land a job within 30 days. But you got to take the action steps. You got to execute on what's being taught, and you got to be committed to the end goal.
Yeah, guys, it is so possible. I've been running this program. I actually created this program back in 2019. And I've been successfully running it since then. Every month I've been running it. This is a collaboration with Dean that we joined, I believe August. August. And we created one just for IT because it is a hot market. IT is always a hot market. It's never a dying industry, always a hot market, and especially during this pandemic. And we created one just for IT, and being Dean's IT recruiter. So hence we're targeting IT for this one that's starting this Saturday. It's starting this Saturday. So let me give you a breakdown of this program. This program that if you sign up with, first you're getting 2 coaches for the price of 1. So me and Dean. You get 10 live classes, plus there's additional classes, recordings you have in the program as well. But 10 live classes are taught. You get access to a private Facebook group where you have unlimited support from us and other people in the group as well. Plus, this is in the group, we also post all jobs that we see in our network. So you get access to our network as well. Plus, every week, once a week, there's tutor time where we personally review all your work, and tutor time is also to get any like troubleshooting of your job search problems or anything. And you have access to that tutor time, for a whole year.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just available, 5 weeks. The program is 5 weeks. It is geared towards getting that speedy result of landing a job in 30 days. The reason I created this program was too many people are struggling in job search, and you don't have to. I know you can land a job in 30 days, and that's why I created the program. You can. It's so doable to land a job in 30 days. But again, you're going to have to sleep, breathe, eat what we tell you to do. I'm exaggerating when I say sleep, eat, breathe, but you're going to have to commit to the program 100%. If you commit to the program 100%, the strategies that I teach, and including Dean, strategy we teach are a combination of few things. It's a combination of our expertise in our industry, being Dean's an IT recruiter, I'm HR, we both recruit. So collaboration on that. So it's how what we're doing on the other side of the table. Keep in mind that you're also getting insights from us. We're on the other side of the table when we're interviewing you. So you're getting that first inside knowledge from us, and that program is designed in from that perspective as well. I also designed it from my entrepreneur journey of branding, marketing, selling yourself, how to position yourself as the leader or solution provider in your industry, because these things do matter. These things do matter.
Yeah.
And just when I said, hey, if you do this for 7 days, post 3 posts a day for 7 days straight, you will see results within the first week. Also, I teach this in the program. You also get access to my templates of content writing as well on LinkedIn. We teach you all this. So this isn't something I just created and copy pasted and Google's giving you the same advice. Whatever we teach in this program, you will never find it in Google, and I guarantee you will not find it anywhere. I've been given this feedback for the past 2 years that my program, there is no I can proudly say this because that's the feedback I've gotten from so many people that have taken the program, that there is no program like this in the market. There's no program. And the biggest thing is it's taught live and it's taught by us.
Yeah.
So whatever you see is what you're getting. We're not passing you on to people. We're not passing you to video recordings or so on. You are getting us as your coaches, and we're teaching, and we're going to teach you skills that you actually need in today's world and beyond to be successful in your career. So it's a short-term and a long-term goal journey in combined into one. And I guarantee you, if you take this program, you will never be the same person after you're done with it. And that is the feedback of me running this program for a year and a half. Year and a half. I started in July 2019 or June 2019. And in a year and a half that I've been running it every month, that's the feedback. People go through a transformation and they never come out of the program the same way they came in. And that is success on its own. So anybody that's looking for stats, that's success. And that is success when you have transformed the thinking in your mind and you are positioning yourself as a solution provider, selling yourself. You have to sell. The entire job search is about selling. You gotta sell. And actually in our entire career journey, we're selling. When we're working, if you want to sell a project, we have to sell. If you want people to buy in to what we're seeing, it's selling. Everything is selling, selling, selling. So you have to learn how to sell correctly in any given moment. And we teach that in the program as well. So tons of value in this program. It is a complete job search solution. From start to finish. And we also do mock interviews. We show you how to prep for interviews, and we're also teaching you closing strategies on how to close your interviews. And we do at least 3 to 4 sessions alone just on mock interviews. Because getting the interview is a piece of cake. It's the closing. You got to close those interviews. It's not hard to land interviews, guys. It's actually not that hard to land interviews. It's actually hard to close those interviews.
Yeah, getting the interview is one thing, folks, but winning it. And by the way, folks, when Gurpreet uses the term closing, she's using it's the sales terminology, right? So what closing means is, for those of you who are not sure what it means, It means getting basically, taking those steps in getting a commitment to move on to the next step of the process, right? Whether that's an offer letter or a second interview or a third interview and stuff like that. So when she says closing, that's what we cover closing. That's what we mean. How to get yourself to the next step in the process, right? And it's a very extensive program, great program that Gurpreet developed, and both of us are there live to coach you. It's not pre-recorded stuff. There is some supplementary pre-recorded material, I believe, but for the most part, it's live. You get to speak with us live, interact with us live, and hear advice from two individuals that have worked on the other side of the table. Myself, the recruiter, and then Gurpreet as on the HR side of things.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you want to join the program, I've dropped the link. You can register, or you can reach out to Dean or myself. I'm happy to go, jump on Zoom, do a discovery call with you, and answer any questions you may have. So feel free to reach out. It does start this Saturday, okay? IT job market, honestly, is hot. It's always been hot. It's really hot during this pandemic. If you work with us, we will guarantee your results. We are committed to getting you results in 30 days, as long as you're also committed. It works both ways. We bring 200% to the table. When we're delivering this program, we bring 200%. I would say 1,000%. Like, we're committed. That's how committed we are to getting people results in our program. But you have to be equally invested and equally committed to getting those results, because we will get those results for you if you work with us. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to both of us or any one of us and ask any questions you have about the program. I've dropped the link below. Sign up. Again, we don't. This is not a program. It's a small group program, which I forgot to highlight. We're not catering this program to 30, 40 people at one time. It's going to lose its quality. It's all about quality. So we're taking about 10 to 50 or maybe max 20, given the market's so hot. But we want to keep it small, close group, because so we can add that quality to the program. Because, again, there's two of us, so we can actually handle 20.
Yeah.
When I run solo, I only take on 10 people. Because, again, it's all about quality. It's not about how many people. It's not quantity, right? So that's one of the other big things that you get with us is we focus on quality, not quantity. So sign up, reach out to us, and the program is starting Saturday, so you don't want to miss out. This would be a fourth batch, right?
This is the fourth. Yeah, this is the fourth time that we're doing this. Yep.
So this is the fourth batch for IT. Again, feel free to reach out to us. Tomorrow, I will be joining Dean's LinkedIn. What time?
Yep. So probably I guess probably in the afternoon. Are you available in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it'll probably be around 2:00, but we'll confirm the time. But yeah, tomorrow and Friday, Gurpreet's going to be a guest on my LinkedIn Live, and we're going to continue providing you folks with value and assisting you in your job search.
Okay, so we'll see you guys tomorrow on Dean's LinkedIn. If anybody's following, make sure you follow Dean as well. He's on LinkedIn. He also does. IT people definitely should be following Dean. You have a tech one too, Tech Talks.
My Tech Talks. So that is another series that I give where I invite various experts from the tech space to come on, and we talk about tech and trends and challenges and all this stuff. So definitely make sure you follow me if you're in IT. Always posting a lot of great content on my channel.
What day is your Tech Talks? Because I know the job search you do on Wednesdays.
Yeah. So for this week, I don't have a Tech Talk guest for this week. Getting guests is another story as well. So this is, and by the way,
look, guys, opportunity here.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
To build their brand.
Exactly.
Dean needs guest speakers for his tech series.
Exactly, folks. There are not enough tech people that are comfortable with positioning themselves as content creators, as experts in their space, right? So this is an opportunity for those of you folks tuning in. But yeah, I do bring in guests as much as possible to my Tech Talk series. So make sure you follow me if you're an IT professional, and you can tune into those talks as well.
If you're HR, I'm also looking for guest speakers for my HR show that I run on Wednesdays, GNG LinkedIn. It's not LinkedIn Live anymore. It's just GNG Live show. Also, I'm relaunching my Career Talk series. It is a live show, so I'm also looking for guest speakers for that. I'm going to be relaunching that as well. So I do have two things. one thing is pending and one thing's already active. And hey, if anybody wants to be a guest on my LinkedIn Live for the job search advice, I open invitation to recruiters, CEOs, or talent acquisitions specialists, HR, open invitation for anybody that wants to hop onto my job search segments as well. Like if anybody wants to share their perspectives as a recruiter, again, HR. So open invitation. I'm always looking for guest speakers to collaborate with as well. So on that note, we will end this segment, and I will be back on Dean's LinkedIn Live tomorrow. So see you guys then, and feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions about our program, Get Hired in 30 Days IT Edition. So see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.